calculating area under the curve, trapped between the curve and the x-axis. In this case, we do exactly the same thing. We integrate between the upper limit and our lower limit. If you substitute the 2 in this time, it works out this area here between the 2 and the 0. And if you work out this, as you substitute the negative 2 in, it gives you this area here. It calculates that as a negative area, but when you subtract the 2, this ends up being subtracted a negative area, which becomes plus, so it ends up adding the 2 together. You'll see this when we do the calculation. So as before, integrate individual parts here. So integrate the 4 to get 4x, and integrate the x squared to get, add 1 to the power and divide, so a third x cubed. Put in your square brackets using the correct notation, so 4x, take away a third x cubed, close your square brackets, and then put your limits at the end. 2 at the top, your upper limit, and negative 2 at the bottom, your lower limit. This is your upper limit because it's furthest to the right, and your lower limit is furthest to the left. Now we substitute the 2 in. Now a common mistake here is to put the 2 in this one and the negative 2 here, but the 2 is substituted in both parts here, and then you take away and then substitute the negative 2 into both parts as well. So it's going to be 4 times 2, take away a third times 2 cubed, not negative 2, then take away 4 times negative 2, take away a third times negative 2 cubed. Now this is the point that people usually get mixed up with the cubes and the fractions and the negative numbers. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this calculation, one on this screen and one on the next screen. In this first screen, what I've done is I've worked out that that's 8 and that this is 2 cubed is 8 over 3. So 8 over 3 is the same as 2 and 2/3. And then in the next line I've calculated that 2 take away 2 and 2/3 is, well, 8 take away 2 is 6, and take away 2/3 is left with 5 1/3. Then work out the next bit. So that goes to negative 8. Take away negative 2 cubed is negative 8 over 3, so that's going to be plus 8 over 3. Again, instead of writing 8 over 3, we can write plus 2 and 2/3. Remember, think how many 3's go into 8, and 2 with a remainder of 2, so that's why that's 2 and 2/3. So negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. Now negative 6 plus 2/3 is negative 5 1/3. So because you're subtracting a negative, that becomes add, so 5 1/3 plus 5 1/3 is 10 2/3 units. Another way to do it, we'll start again at this point here. What you could do is work it out individually, so that would go to 8, take away 8 over 3, 2 times 2 times 2 over 3, and take away 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, and that's going to go to negative 8 over 3, so that'll be plus 8 over 3 because there's a takeaway here, so negative for this part, but then because you're subtracting it, it becomes a plus. And then say to yourself, well, 8 take away 8 over 3, take away negative 8 plus 8 over 3, that becomes a plus 8, and that becomes a negative 8 over 3. So what you end up there was 8 plus 8, which is 16, and negative 8 over 3, take away 8 over 3, is negative 16 over 3. So all I've done there is I've taken into account this is a negative and a negative, so that becomes a plus 8 to that. And then that's a negative and a plus, so that's going to be a takeaway 8 over 3. So because we've got 2 of them here, it's negative 16 over 3. You can take that, you can put a middle line in there if you wanted to, by multiplying the bracket out. Now 16 over 3, how many 3's in 16? Well, there's 5 with 1 left over, so 16 take away 5 1/3. Well, that's going back to 10 2/3 again. Same answer, obviously. So two ways to do that. You just choose whichever way works for you best.